I think another level that this film engages on is that you do have kind of almost the caper aspect of trying to make sure that the cameras work. Obviously, it seems like that's something that you didn't really know that was going to be a major part of the film going in. At what point did you realize this is not just a technical problem, this is something that we can actually work into the final product?
Yeah, I think we always knew we wanted, coming off of Chasing Ice, we always knew we wanted to document all the major things that we were doing. We had no idea how complicated it would be, how challenging it would be. We thought we would finish the film an entire year earlier, actually. We thought that based on our original schedule, we could have been done a full festival cycle earlier. And we weren't capturing the bleaching, and the cameras didn't work, and we knew that, unfortunately for the planet, we knew that more opportunities were coming up, that the bleaching was only scheduled to continue. And that's what gave us hope that we could actually get it done in the end. But really, that was probably the biggest challenge. We didn't know if we were going to capture a climax or not. There was a period where the reason why we did an interview with me in the first place was because we were about to go to Australia, and we had no idea if the camera equipment would work this time. You know, we're still inventing all the stuff up as we go. We're making the cameras. We're inventing techniques. We were inventing all sorts of stuff that didn't make it into the film, and trying to figure out if those were going to work. And we had no idea if we were going to capture anything in Australia or not. One of my favorite techniques, actually, that we were able to figure out how to make it work. After we show all the time lapses in Zach's presentation, there were a handful of shots that follow that, where it's a moving shot. The camera is moving through the water, and then it wipes, and the movement continues pretty seamlessly. And we shot that using underwater iPads. Like, we found this one company in Japan that they were shutting down. Nobody was buying underwater iPad housings, so their whole business model was falling apart. And we somehow managed to get them to send us one of their last units on a late overnight delivery to get to the right spot before we were getting on the plane. And it's this housing. It's an actual housing for an iPad. You hook up your air tank to it, and you actually inject it with air, and it has this bubble, so you can touch the iPad while you're underwater. And I would have our dive assistant hold the iPad, and I'd look at it, and I'd watch the video from day one. And actually using an iPad, watching movies underwater, hit play on the video, and I would watch to see what the motion was of the camera on the first day. And then I would take our camera system, and I would shoot, and I would mimic that exact same path as best as I could, and shoot it, and then look back at the video and be like, all right, so I have to go a little bit lower, slow down a little bit, and a little bit more to the left. And I'd go back and repeat the shot, and looking at my little monitor, and then go back to the video, okay, wait, and this time a little bit more to the left, but a little bit higher. And then did that over and over and over again for all the sites. We loaded 60 videos at least. We picked one video for each site, loaded them onto the iPad, and then went back and was just shooting over and over and over again. And I was so pleased by how well they lined up. We could get the shots to line up. And that's one of the things that we realized, that we learned with Chasing Ice. It's so important to remove all of the other variables. The shot has to be as close to exact as humanly possible. There's so many, sometimes you see a photograph online of, this is what this city looked like 100 years ago, and this is what it looks like today. And you look at the two photos and you're like, this isn't the same spot. Oh, maybe that building is the same building, but I'm not really sure. And your brain is doing all this questioning and second guessing. But if the shot is exactly aligned, if there are references that oh, that is the same exact thing, then you don't question that. Subconsciously, you just know that that's the same piece.
So you essentially became a choreographer too.
Yeah, and it's really, really fun to shoot underwater. It's not something that I had realized beforehand. As a cinematographer, you're always working with gravity. You're always working with the limitations of where you can put a camera in space. And when you're underwater, if you inhale, you go up, and if you exhale, you go down. And you can kick and propel yourself wherever you want to go, and you can twist and spin, and you can point straight up or straight down. And as your own individual self-contained unit with your camera, you're a dolly, you're a jib, you're a crane, you're all of these motions that you can coordinate however you want. So it's just, it became such a really, really fun way to shoot.